Hello, everybody. Welcome to the June 2025 Byron Town Board meeting. If everyone will stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for attending. We're a little light on board members this evening. Hopefully Fred's wife will be okay. I'll introduce themselves. Start with Martin, please.
Martin Bilchik, Councilman.
John Sansone, Town Attorney.
Candy Council Supervisor.
Christy Murphy, Town Clerk.
Jeff Thompson, Councilman.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the approval of the minutes. Anybody have any corrections or anything like that you've done? Just we sent it out last week or the week before, I think.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. At this time, we're going to have a brief presentation from the Byron Virgin Library. Take it away, ladies.
Okay, thank you. I'm Sally Caperso. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees for the Byron Virgin Public Library. And we have with us today Shirley Wade, our vice president, and Anna Marie Barclay, Heather Kent, and Lauren Corinne. And two of our board members had to go over to the school to learn about sixth grade trip. I think that's what it was. Oh, yeah, of course. Our library manager. Sorry. We probably know more than the rest of us. All right, so we are once again going to let you know what we're doing in terms of Municipal 414. Municipal library is one that's funded by the towns that they serve. There are other kinds of libraries that are funded through their special districts, so they get funded indirectly through the school systems, but this is what we are. Or not. These are the, whoops. These are the things we're going to talk about, a little bit about some things that are going on in the library. What is community-based funding? We're specifically telling you about the impact of what we're doing on you, the taxpayer, and what we're going to be doing in terms of a vote. Okay. So our library has been a critical part of the community since 1811. Some of you may have known it at that point. It was probably a Virgin reading room. In 1985, we were chartered by New York State. And what we got is an absolute charter. That means it's not a provisional one. It means it's a permanent one. And it was awarded to the library on behalf of the Board of Regents. And we work under the New York State Education Department. And the charter says that the Board of Regents, on behalf of the New York State Education Department, has granted this absolute charter to the Byron Virgin Public Library. I kind of thought you might not be able to read that. We're more than just books. Our library contributes to a sense of place for those who call Byron and Virgin home. We have a lot of free resources and programming. We support residents in ways that enhance real estate value. A lot of times people are looking for things like churches and libraries, and it encourages productive members of our community. Our library use is on the rise. Every year, more and more people are meeting and growing and learning and developing new skills through us. We need to sustain and to grow as a Municipal 414 library. Okay, some of you may remember some of this from previous presentations. A Municipal 414 library, and this is a quote, it can be a little boring, enables libraries of any type to put their budget up for the public vote. held on Election Day to establish the municipal budget appropriation for the library. So that's where we are asking you to put us on your a proposition on your ballot so that you can vote to help sustain our library. Okay, this is what we are now. Our current budget is supported by virgin taxpayers who voted for the proposition that I'm going to be talking about in 2023. And from the virgin taxpayers, we get over 118,000, and that was in 2025. Now, Byron taxpayers, we get money through the Byron Town Board, who gave us $7,500 in 2025. Now, when we did the vote in 2023, in Byron, we had 42% yes and 58% no, which is significant enough for us to try to do this again. And we also get grants and donations, but those are sometimes very time-consuming to write up, and they're inconsistent. Sometimes we'll ask for a grant for a certain amount of money, and we'll end up with less. Once in a great while, we do end up with more, but it's very unpredictable. Okay. These are the current contributions. In Virgin, since the proposition passed, we get 55 cents per 1,000 of assessed value. And so people there are paying $55,000, or excuse me, $55 a year for $100,000 assessed value. And per month, that comes up to be $450-ish. Now in Byron, the amount people pay in their taxes that support the library is 1.7 cents, $1.70 a year, or 14 cents a month. So you can see there's a little discrepancy, and we're trying to make it a little bit more equitable. So moving forward, what we want to do, our goals are to expand our programming and resources, and we really, really want a dedicated children's clerk to work pretty much on preschool to young adult programming, to be there to answer their questions and to encourage reading in a group that really needs to read to become better people. We do need your help to achieve our goals. It's essential that we stop dipping into reserve funding to meet our current budgetary needs, because eventually it's going to be gone. So what we're asking is that, and this will come up a little bit later, but I want to tell you now, to put a proposition on your ballot that allows people to decide if they want to help fund the library or not. By doing this, we'll have more stability, we'll have consistent funding for long-term planning. One of the things that's going to be happening to us in the near future in 2027 is that the rent that we're currently paying to the town of Virgin is going to go up. Right now we have a sweet deal. We pay a certain amount a month, and next year we're okay, but the year after that, who knows how much our rent is going to go up. So we need to be proactive and plan ahead to make sure that we have the money available for the things that we can't foresee. If we can get Byron voter approval, you will be demonstrating a commitment to education, well-being, and the development of our community. And this will be contributions from the entire library service area. These are things that the library has done for the Byron community in the past. When the Byron bicentennial celebration was going on, there was children's programming, a book sale, planning, all of those things were helped by the library. Last year there was a concert in the park. And then historically, these are things that have gone on for many years. There's been preschool and pre-K outreach for over 30 years. There's been a presence at the Byron community garage sales. And very often there has been music during the Memorial Day celebration at the Byron Town Hall. Okay, so look at 30 years, over 10 years, almost 20 years. We have been supporting Byron through all this time. This is now. There's weekly Byron Recreation Camp outreach. And there's some of the things that have happened. And this is how we're going to continue to serve the Byron community. We have some special shows coming up, Magic Music, Color Our World with Mr. Buffalo at the Byron Community Park, the appearance of a Cornell Cooperative at the Byron Rec program, and of course the summer reading program, which is at the library. June 19th, so if you have grandchildren you want to bring them over. It's always a fun time. Just a reminder, the Byron Virgin Public Library serves the towns of Byron and Virgin as mandated by our absolute charter with New York State. So even if you don't use the Byron Virgin Public Library, the population of both towns determines the hours of operation that we have to abide by, as well as certain personnel requirements. And that's all from New York State. So we kind of came up with cost versus value. If you can help us by agreeing to 55 cents per thousand, or about $4.58 a month, that would be your increase in your taxes. And that isn't factoring in the 1.7 cents per month that you already pay. Your voice will matter. The taxpayers can directly approve the portion of taxes allocated to the library budget. And this amount will stay the same unless or until another vote is taken to make a change. So it's not like every year we're going to change this, because in order to do that, we have to do petitions all over again. By the way, my cost in Virgin, and we are already paying the 55 cents per 100,000, I pay about $120 a year, and if you factor that out, it's $10 a month. So to me, it's worth having a library and having those services. So here's your first steps, and that baby, I don't know who it is, it was online, is to sign our petition, and we'll have some of those around. And the petition simply puts the proposition on the ballot, okay? And it's only this year for Byron citizens, because Virgin is already in. And signing it simply gets the proposition on the ballot. It doesn't mean you agree yes or no. It just gives every citizen in Byron an opportunity to have a voice. The vote will actually be during the November general election, and this is on Tuesday, November 4th. And that's when you'll have an opportunity to vote on your community-based funding, or also called Municipal Court 14 Library Proposition. And these are pretty much the differences. If everything passes again, we will have a predictable tax contribution. Virgin's funding has helped eliminate fines. We might be able to have even more services, which we're talking about. The facilities will be maintained. Maybe we'll even expand the hours of operation. expanded programming, support staffing, up-to-date materials. You know, if you own a laptop or a computer, that every 3 years about you have to replace them. So that's something we have to continually do, and we have more than one computer, more than one laptop. And we'll have improved long-term planning and sustained operations. If it fails, well, it's kind of pretty much things stay the same. We'll come and ask for money from the Byron Town Board, but we might eventually have to reduce some of the things that we do in terms of hours. Programming, who knows? You know, sometimes the programming, we have a budget for it and people want more than we can afford. So we probably will be able to have more quality programming. And if it fails, the long-term viability is in question because, as I said, we're constantly dipping into our reserve funds and they are getting depleted. These are who we are. On the left is the staff. Cheryl, Sandy, Nancy Bailey, the manager. See, I didn't forget you there. Zoe and Kirsha Michelle Seward. And then our board, everyone I introduced you to with Camera Shai, Katie Rumble, and as I said, Chrissy Bird isn't here today either. So thank you for listening politely to my speeches. Do you have questions? Is there something you don't understand or you'd like clarified?
I do have a question. On that 55 cents and then 1.7 between Byron and Virgin, when you went back to that slide,
Okay.
that Virgin portion is set because they voted yes to it, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So
And the
nothing
1.7
adjusted, there's no 37 cents meet in the middle for everybody, correct? Okay.
In order to do that,
So
we
we'll
would
start
have to redo
Gotcha. No, I just-
Virgin and redo
Okay.
signing of petitions, putting it on their ballot. That's not to say we wouldn't do that in the future when we, when we can be settled enough so we know what money we have, so that, eventually, who knows, we might be able to make it a better deal. Any other questions?
Will you be leaving petitions here for someone to witness to sign at the clerk's office or anything like that? No.
It is okay. It has to be witnessed by a Byron person, of course, and they have to be registered voters. And you cannot sign your own petition. So even if you need extra ones, you can email me and I can send you some and you can print them out or however we want to work it. All right? Shirley wanted to say something.
Every month, I've tried recently at least to hand out a summary of what's going on. Our library staff does a nice job of highlighting things. If you're like me, you're not likely to look online, and so you don't necessarily know. And so this is a well-done explanation of some upcoming things. And I have a few more copies I'll leave back here at the door, and if you're interested, help yourself or go online to our library site. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay, once again, thank you for your attention. And now you're the expert, so when somebody asks you a question, you can tell them you know what's going on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll just give you these, whatever I did check, and it's legal to do that here, just on voting day, you can't do anything.
If you were to have one, if Christie had one there, she'd be witnessing her own petition. Right. I'm just giving that as an example. Or we tried this last year, and then
You have to make sure that you see the person
Correct.
signing
Okay.
and that they're
so
from
we're looking
Byron.
at these other
And you can't sign your own petition.
Okay.
Nor can you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're on now to an update on the wastewater treatment project. The consolidated funding applications for the wastewater treatment project will be submitted at the end of July. We have documentation that needs to be approval tonight. To move forward with those applications, there's a special public hearing that needs to be announced, and, 1 second. If someone would read a resolution to schedule a public hearing, if someone will read that, schedule for next month's meeting.
So whereas the town of Byron intends to submit an application to the New York State Office of Homes and Community Renewal and funding under the Community Development Block Grant Program for the 2025-year program. And whereas the state of New York announces that up to 24.2 million is available through the 2025 CDBG grant, with up to 20 million specifically available for public infrastructure projects. And whereas the town of Byron is considered submitted application for up to 2 million in the CDBG funds to support the wastewater project. Whereas as part of the application process, the town of Byron must hold a public hearing to gather input from citizens, public agencies, and other stakeholders on the proposition of CDBG application community needs and the CDBG funding priorities. Now, wherefore, as be it resolved that the town of Byron Town Board hereby schedules a public hearing to be held on July 9th, 2025 at 6:30 prior to the regular town board meeting to receive public comments on the town's proposal for the CDBG application and wastewater treatment project. But it be further resolved that the town clerk is directed to public notice said public hearing in accordance with the applicable laws and regulations.
I'll second that. All board.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so we're meeting next month at, I did say, oh, yeah, I did. So it's at 6:30. So next month's meeting will be a little early, so don't be late and miss something. And then we will be applying again this year for the WQIP, which is a DEC grant. At this point, no, it's not Municipal Solutions. Jay Grasso at GG Consulting they're conducting or filling out the application for the CDBG, and MRB Group will be completing the application for the WQIP grant again this year. With this, we need this resolution for permission for me to sign off on the documents when the application is complete. If someone will read that resolution, please.
Whereas the town board of the town of Byron located in Genesee County supports the submission of the 2025 Department of Environmental Conservation water quality improvement applications for the consolidation funding application for upgrades to the wastewater treatment facilities. And whereas the New York State Department of Conservation provides a competitive statewide reimbursement grant for local governments, administrations to directly address documents where water quality improvements and impairments, and whereas an engineer report and preliminary engineering report for the wastewater treatment system improvements implements the project to help improve water quality and public health. And whereas now, therefore, that we resolve the town Byron Town Board identifies the town supervisor as authorization representative to the town to execute necessary documents relative to and as required for grant application. But it be further resolved, the town Byron does hereby accept that all shall provide at least 25% match of the total of any grant funding is awarded as a local match are hereby appropriated in the form of in-kind services, cash contributions and obligations from the sewer funding or SRF finances in accordance with the bond resolution. Be it further resolved that the town board for the town of Byron located in Genesee County recognizes and fully supports the submission of the 2025 water quality improvement project application by MRV Group on behalf of the town to improve water quality and protect health, public health.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, just so everyone is aware, the CDBG grant resolution that we passed for the meeting next month, there is a copy of the application that needs to be left for view, public view. It will be left at the clerk's office if anyone wants to take a look at it. It's in the process of being filled out, so it's just basically the questions that we'll be completing for that part of the application. Anybody from the sewer district have any questions about that by any chance in the audience? There's a lot of different moving parts with this project. It's in the design phases with the engineering group. EFC is not triggering financing for us, so we need to utilize the reserve funds to hold us over. So there's a lot of moving parts. If anybody has any questions, I can be happy to explain them, but there's a lot of people involved to get us this $11 million or as much as we can of it. Okay? With that, we're on to the water improvement benefit area number 1 update. Yes. There were a couple things that at this point we need to hold off on per legal counsel. I think everyone may have talked to the engineer or the attorney over the last couple of days over some stuff. There's some concerns with the pay app and things that all need to be addressed as a unit. So at this time, our attorney Paul Boylan has recommended, and I hereby make a motion to table the discussions for water improvement benefit area number 1, for the pay app, and for the insurance reimbursement from the Rochester Pipelines Insurance Company, and call for a special meeting to be held in executive session. This meeting will be called to discuss possible litigation strategies, as there is a significant possibility of litigation to be initiated. So you need to decide at this point to pass this motion of where and what time, and Scott did not get back to me. Paul is available whenever we want. He's available. Scott had some limitations. He's got one meeting that we have to be out here by 6:30, and I didn't write down the date because I was driving, so he didn't get back to me. So my notes from Scott are that he's available. Hang on 1 second. Wednesday of next week would be better with his schedule. I don't know what anybody else's is, but
Well, I mean, they put out what, I don't know what more a meeting is gonna do. Rochester Pipeline has not fulfilled their obligations, and I don't know why we'd even discuss a pay app without that being done.
that's why we're going to executive session, so that the two people that you may have spoke to over the course of the last couple of days with some issues when these things came forward can set forth the path that, and the ramifications for the district, is my understanding. I don't know what you got, but that's what the recommendation was not to move on these things tonight until after the special meeting with these two parties. So is everyone available next Wednesday evening?
Sure, what time, Andy?
Paul's available anytime. I don't know what your gentleman's schedule is with work, with it being nice out if you work later. I mean, if you wanted to do 5 o'clock on Wednesday night, you probably could do that.
Five's good for me.
Sure.
Okay, so motion to hold the public hearing, the special meeting to go into executive session be held at 5 p.m. on Wednesday
It's going to be the 18th.
the 18th, here at the Byron Town Hall. And if Christie could post that as soon as possible. I think we've... Second? Motion
Second. If that's what you're making a
All in
motion.
favor? Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
5 o'clock Wednesday.
Any questions for
Made
that?
the motion,
I-
second.
yeah.
I do have questions about a different subject on the water
Sure.
area, about where the project ran through the town of Stafford and the other residents of Stafford have hooked up to that. And there was an agreement written up which Stafford denied. And I don't know why we haven't talked more about that. And Scott said he gave examples of how other towns in the same situation have billed them people and have had good success doing that.
Okay.
So,
I don't know, I'm not the attorney, I presented it.
well, I mean, when did you hear that it was denied though? We didn't even know it was submitted. And, you know, nobody's taken any action on it, and we got people hooked up to our district that,
Are they hooked up?
yes,
Oh, okay, I don't know.
aren't even paying for it. So, I mean, you had this communication, why wouldn't you forward it to the board? And let us come up with an idea to act on it.
I don't have an answer for that, except the attorneys and the engineer were involved. So,
Yeah, but we weren't. That's,
I don't know, I guess when you pay for those expert people at that point, and that was the beginning when everything was Aaron, so I don't know. I don't know if, other than the attorney, I don't understand why it wasn't taken care of before that, but I felt like I was playing catch-up with everything. So, we didn't do it in our own water districts. I don't have an answer for that. My apologies, but, so, take it up with the attorney and see where we can go, because I haven't gotten anywhere.
so is that, John, is that something Paul has to handle, or can you, or?
I think, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, that he was staying on for the purpose of that project. I don't know if it goes to litigation, if he does that type of work. I do litigation work, so I can be part of the discussions if you want. It's really up to the board. But my understanding when I accepted the position was that he was keeping this project is under his purview. But I'd be happy to.
Is that something we can put on the agenda for this executive session next week?
Yes, I think
And
we
I think
fall
we
under
should,
possible litigation.
Because I'm a little confused too, because when I get my water hooked up to the properties I own, I have to fill out, or you come here to the town and you
It's
pay.
not, they're not in our town.
They applied right to the water authority.
They circumvented that, which is a process. I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
So I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
but
No,
they should be paying the town of Byron or us for their use of water that we put through their property.
Yes, they should, like the residents of Byron on Transit Road,
There's all kinds of examples,
who
so
are
I
paying Elba.
guess, I'll be honest, I guess I dropped the ball when the people that we paid to do it didn't move forward. I presented it to over there, and that was as
Well,
far as
they
it
did
went.
move forward. The contract was written up and given to you, and you gave it to Stafford, and Stafford denied it. But we didn't know we didn't get any of that information, you know, where do we go from now? So if we had that information, we could have acted last year to try and do something.
Yep. Well, I'll figure it out now.
I'm gonna move forward.
Into,
Ask Paul Boylan at our meeting next week.
It's executive session.
what's that?
I was
It's not our
Councilperson
meeting, it's our executive session on possible litigation.
They wouldn't be able to ask questions. The public wouldn't, unless someone sends something to you and to a board member, and then a board member could raise that issue, but you really can't report back to anybody what happens in executive session, so it would be really for your own information. Okay?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's insurance. Okay, solar project updates. There's a brief overview of the community solar projects in the packet. I think they're plugging along slowly with the community solar projects. But at least not been, it's been special use permit, but no permits for, building permits have been issued. Blue Wave special use permit has been given, and Green Street, which is on Route 262, and it's not hooked up yet, but it's completely built. There's a problem with National Grid, I believe, the hookup process at this point. The Excelsior project is underway. Anybody has any complaints, there's a complaint resolution form that's available in this office. It's available online. If you meet one of the developers on the road, apparently they will be happy to answer your questions too, from what I heard. So continue with that. The response has been good from them for resolution of those. If anybody wants to know what those retention ponds are, we have 41 retention ponds that are over there on the land for the cited project. Only 11 of them are going to be permanent, if that answers anybody's question, because I know there's been a lot of speculation, but right before they broke ground, DEC said that they didn't want the town flooding, so they put in a request for additional retention ponds to be put in. Apparently, when Blattner broke ground in Mount Morris, there was excessive flooding, and DEC didn't want that to happen in Byron. Anybody on the board have any questions about Excelsior? It's plugging along. I forwarded you just this evening the decommissioning plan for the project that was in 2022. It was signed. It's being executed now by Excelsior. As of yesterday or today, there's a 21-day comment period to the Department of Public Service. It's been suggested that we have it reviewed. I've sent it over to MRB Group again and John Sansone just this afternoon to take a look at, to get any comments that we want to within that. So it just came, I just sent it to you, so take a look at it. If you have anything, please respond back, and we can get that published to the Department of Public Service website for whatever it's worth at the state level. I do believe one of the documents in that, John, when you look at it, there's a financial document at the end of the contract, and then I added in there to that email to all of you something that was submitted by Excelsior to the DPS. It looks like there's a change in the amount of the bond, or excuse me, the letter of credit that's going to be issued. I don't know where that's going. I just reviewed it this afternoon. So,
I'll take a look at it. Thank you.
So following up on these things is important. We're down to last month. We had a public hearing on the short-term rentals, and it was tabled, going to the county for the review. However, the county returned it back that there's no need for the review at the county level because the proposed moratorium was less than a year. So I don't know if there's any more discussion on that or how the town board wants to proceed. I will be recusing myself because I did at one point have short-term rentals.
I can just, this is what I think about it.
Do you want
So I
to
just,
table again?
going forward, one thing is, if you're already doing a short-term rental, I would not want to stop with somebody that already has something set in place. What I would like to do is going forward, prior to any other short-term rentals, can it get placed into the town zoning code that again, I said before, there's gonna be something that you can at least apply for a variance, if that's the right word, I'm not sure, to make sure that your neighbors know what's going on. And again, if it happened prior to, so be it, they're there, just knowing what goes on in the hotel and down here at the campgrounds, they have things there, again, that I think they're already set in place. I would not want to ruin somebody else's thunder that they've already had, it's grandfathered in. Just going forward, I don't know how we can just assess the situation to where we can make sure
I
that
agree with you on that, and I don't mean to interrupt, but what the discussion is here is whether, would we put a moratorium on this? Or do we just?
This is my understanding.
I make a motion, we table it, we can't act on anything tonight anyway.
Okay, that's fine, table it, I'm good
Okay.
with it, yeah.
And the planning board is gonna,
You can't even make a motion to table it, because you're not gonna vote, right?
oh, yeah, there we go. So there's a discussion for tonight, we'll move on.
It's the same effect as tabling it.
Okay, without saying it. At this point, we are down to number 9, our town board vacancy discussions. The town board put out a notice requesting any candidates for the vacancy to be filled till the end of the year. We received 4 responses back. The board chose to conduct their own interviews on their own. I didn't hear back from anybody in front of each of the board members. It was my reach out to the 4 candidates. I asked them to submit, I asked them a list of questions. I don't know what anybody else discussed with the candidates. Of the 4 candidates, 2 responded back. Those are the replies. Sorry I didn't get to give them to you earlier, but we had some computer issues earlier and I couldn't send anything. So as soon as I could print, we got them in front of you. So I don't know what questions that you asked the candidates. There's 2 candidates here tonight. Would you like to tell us a little bit about why you were interested in being a board member?
Sure.
Sure, Brandon.
So I'm Brandon Mason. I grew up in Byron, Virgin. I've lived in Byron now for almost 11 years. I have a house right up here in Byron with my wife and 2 boys. Both go to the school district, they participate in sports, all that kind of fun stuff. So I just, saw the vacancy as an opportunity to get involved in the town and kind of help guide and be a cog in the wheel that steers the future of our town. And I think it's worth investing in and seeing what we can do with it.
Thank you.
Aren't you already on the planning board too?
I'm an alternate on the planning board currently.
Barbie?
I just prepared a little statement saying, being on the board means you are elected to represent the town residents. My bus business and being a farmer in the community, I see many local residents. Every month I would and will report to the board what I hear and let others know if there is something good or bad happening in the community. Each board member should report and ensure residents' voices are accurately reflected before the town. If I am elected, I would ensure that my voice and the others in the community would be heard. I also like to report that Candace was the only board member that reached out to me. The other 3 during this time never reached out, never emailed, text, or called, which I feel is very disappointing. Being a board member, you're supposed to reach out to the community to make sure. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. The board is here to hear the residents and best serve the residents. And that's what I would like to do. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. And I don't know where the other, Tess rescinded her first and the other person didn't respond back, so with that,
Tess put her endorsement behind Brandon, I believe.
I don't know what that means, so, she just
she's recommending that she would support Brandon Mason.
Oh, okay, well, she's not a board member, so,
Just her vote.
so with that, we have some decisions to make. Do you have any, I don't know what questions you
Are
asked.
you gonna do this, shouldn't you be doing this in executive session?
Why? They would have been elected.
What, I mean, you're gonna talk about pros and cons about each candidate, right?
I don't know, I'm asking them
I
what
mean,
their
it's
thoughts
up to
are.
you, you do whatever you want to do,
Okay.
I was just wondering if that's what you're planning on doing.
Yes, I'm planning on proceeding. I originally was gonna interview the candidates with the board, but they chose to do it individually, so with that,
Do you want mine? I'd like to make a motion to nominate Brandon Mason for the next board member. That's what
I will second.
and we'll vote, and at this time, I have a quick question, Brandon, if I could.
Mhm.
Are you running and you've set yourself up to run as well?
In November?
To run in November, or are you just trying to fill this position until the end of the year? I don't think I asked that in my question here.
But I think the position is asked to him to fulfill the position that's already vacant. It's not an election.
Yes, it is. We're only filling this position right now until the end of the year. And I'm just asking if you're seeking election in November, or you're just seeking to fill the vacancy until then, is my question.
So my intention is to fill the vacancy until then, and then run for election.
Okay,
in
well, that was
November.
just my question.
Yeah.
No, that's all I wanted to know, because I did not ask that of any of the candidates of what their intentions were. So with that, I guess I don't know how, we made a motion to nominate, appoint, which is it? Appoint Brandon Mason to the town board. So you seconded it. I agree. I don't believe, Barb, that you wanted to proceed. It was just to fill the vacancy, from my understanding.
Correct.
I encourage anybody that wants to still run to seek the Board of Elections channels to do so. I don't know exactly what those are at this point. I know there's time to still get on the ballot depending on what the protocol is, if anybody wants to. Okay, so with that, unanimously, we've appointed Brandon Mason to the town board.
I want to make sure on the record, though, that you get a yay and a yay from Jeff and
Oh,
Martin.
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
yes. Okay,
Thank you.
so thank you for your replies, both of you. And I appreciate trying to fill the vacancies to look us through the end of the year too. So at this point, do we swear him in and ask him to sit on the board, or we wait till the next meeting?
I suggest we put him on the board and he shows up next week at the, do it right now, right? John, we're,
See, I could do it either way. He can't, I would suggest he doesn't take any action or anything tonight, but I think the cleaner way to do it is what you suggested.
Because I have a question on that too, just being that I'm an alternate on the planning board, do I need to
Yes.
resign my position on the planning board before we can do anything with this regardless?
You could do it at the same time, but if you
Okay.
if you do your resignation tomorrow and then get sworn in after you send your resignation, it should be fine.
And that would go to Chris or to Pat as the secretary for the planning?
I sent
Both.
it to, yeah.
Both. Okay. Thank you.
Then just let me know and I'll swear you in.
Okay.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, welcome
Thank
aboard.
Okay, so that's done. We'll see you, don't forget, you've got the 18th at 6:30 back here, okay?
No, bye.
Sorry, one meeting, wrong hearing.
Five on the-
Hearing,
Meeting here, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, 6:30 next month. Right on my door, will you, Christie?
I know, I might have to send an email to everybody. I know.
so where are we at? I'm sorry.
Abstracts,
We're down to
vouchers.
abstracts and vouchers. Somebody wants to read those? And just so you know, let's take out water improvement benefit area number 1, abstract number 6. That needs to be taken out because we're not going to be moving on any of those until after our next special meeting, okay?
All right, so be it resolved, the town Byron board pay the following abstract. General funds, number 6, slash number 112, 138 for the amount of $16,888.60. Highway fund, number 6, number 49, number 60 at $12,697.27. Sewer fund, number 26, slash number 38 for $8,946.49. Sewer capital fund, number 8, for the amount of $56,186.80. We're gonna scratch the, number 8, number 9, general post audit, number 24, number 29 for $1,626.60. Sewer post audit, number 10, slash number 11 for $700.36.
I got a question with the Board of Assessment review. You didn't sign those? Is there a reason why?
I think you might have missed a couple.
I caught them up earlier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw that. No, there was no reason. I must have missed them. We were talking about something else, I think, and I flipped through.
And there was a few of them too, things I didn't.
After you, right, yes. No, I saw that note to do it.
I
and
had a bill, so I think if you looked at it again.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I signed it. There was no reason. It was just an oversight with the stuff that was going on.
I'll second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, me too. Now we're on to reports. Highway Superintendent David, please.
The guy's been out working out of town mostly for the last couple, 3 weeks when it's not raining. When it's raining, they come back and mow lawn and mow roadsides. That's about it for now.
It'll be good as it can be.
Thank you for the parking spots at Turtle Park also. That looks good.
We'll see. Make it a little bit safer, I hope.
Motion to accept.
I make a motion to accept the highway superintendent report.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Christie?
Alrighty, paid ag and market $55, supervisor $3,065.16, the DEC $28.34. We had some revenue for the Parks Committee for $100. Just a couple things to report. I know last month I had reported that we were unfortunately going to be without a sewer billing software. Here shortly, Edmunds GovTech is who we use now, and they are no longer going to be supporting the version that we have currently. So I've gotten a couple different quotes, one of course from them, Edmunds GovTech for this is an all year, 1 year, all in. So everything that we need to do to get up and running will be a cost of $6,100. The annual cost for that will be $2,100. With that $6,100, that also is the cost of a year added into that as well, and there's a breakdown of what has to be paid and when. Williamson Law Book Company is a 1-year investment of $8,325 with an annual cost of $2,000. Just in talking to both of the companies with what they have to offer, Edmunds GovTech can take all of our current information, do our re-levies, all of our current accounts, and get them all switched over without too much interruption. Obviously, it'll take a little bit more for Williamson Law Book to do that. However, with $100 difference of the Williamson Law Book, once we get everything settled, plus obviously the 1-year investment, Edmunds GovTech, I feel, is the way to go on that. They do need to know by August 1st so they can start the conversion process. So if you folks are okay with that, I'll go ahead and sign the agreement and let them know if there was, discussion that needed to be had.
Need to be signed up by August, or?
They need to
When is
know,
it?
yes,
When
August
is it
1st.
transition?
Will be done at the end of the year, our current system. So they wanted leeway in order to get everything converted to be completely up and running January 1.
And what is it we're currently paying per year? I'm
I
sorry.
don't even want to tell you. $797 a year. So it's quite more, it's more expensive obviously than what we have been paying, but obviously this is an upgraded version, and due to the fact that they just aren't supporting it anymore because they don't have enough clients on this type of site is why they're just doing away with it. So that's how much we pay a year now for that.
Other options other than that, other than Edmonds and Williamson were out there?
There aren't a ton around. I can look for another one. We still have a month. I can certainly get a hold of some other, I know the local town clerks either use Edmonds or Williamson for that,
For,
all their sewer water billing.
okay,
Because we have to remember it's combined, even though like for their systems, they don't just have like a sewer billing. A lot, some of the sewer, the towns that have the sewer and the water, they do both. They bill out for sewer and water, and it's a meters, and it's a lot. For right now, we have a straightforward debt service, so it's a little more straightforward than some of the other towns. But the local towns do, for the most part, use Edmonds or Williamson. But obviously, I can reach out to extended clerks across the county and the state.
is this something we can onboard with for billing for somebody that's already got the system in place? I'm just asking,
Like conjunction with them,
like if there was,
a group of,
yes, an intermunicipal agreement with them for the billing part of it, at least,
I'm pretty sure that Corfu, Darien, and City of Batavia, but like Alba doesn't do sewer billing and stuff like that. So I can look into it more if you folks want me to do that and come back next month with a definitive.
I'm just asking only because the sewer project, any money that's in that district right now, the timing is just really bad to figure it all out. It's not going to put us in too much of a constraint. We've got another month after that, correct?
So they have to have it by August 1st.
So one more meeting.
So we have one more meeting to let them know so they can get ahead, so they can try to get ahead of their game. Because then, like I said, they'll be doing away with the program, and we just won't be supported anymore.
And what support do we get on that?
So it's a program that, yes, they do support the program, they run the program, it's been downloaded on our system. If I have to call them for any kind of, I use them for the re-levies to make sure that that's all done properly. I think if they're, obviously they back up the program as well, so every time we
So this is
build.
cloud-based?
No, they have their own process of backing up because it's downloaded on our computer, so
Okay.
they can have access to when they have a portal that they can get on.
Up and
They initially
down,
put
right,
it
if I
on.
remember correctly. Okay.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I can look a little bit further and see, if there's any other cost-effective ways to.
Well, I mean,
For programs.
Yes, if you would, I think that would behoove the district a little bit,
Okay.
because we're strapping for money right now within that district from the reserve fund, so these septic tanks and stuff are starting to deplete O&M too, so as they're failing more frequently with their
I'll
age.
reach out and see what I can
Thank
find.
you.
I may not be able to find anything, but
Anybody
I'll
have
do
any
my
questions
best.
on that?
No.
It was brought to our attention, didn't think about it before. In the past, I'm going back to the parks now. In the past, either the gatekeeper or a park committee member has cleaned the bathrooms that are at Fireman's Park. And I don't think anybody really realized that. Between George and Donna, one of them was always picking up the bathrooms, from what I understand. So now that we don't have a gatekeeper and things like that, obviously that bathroom needs to be used for the rec program, and I just feel like if we're going to rent that park out, that those bathrooms should be accessible rather than folks going to the porta potty if they actually rent that. So I did ask Lori, our current cleaner, if that would be something that she would be able to do, just to at least get them up and running and just through the season, through Labor Day. once a week. She said that she would certainly be able to do that. She would coincide that with our cleaning day on Thursdays for an additional $25 a week, which is $300 for 12 weeks of service added to her salary. And I wasn't sure if that's what you folks. She did go down and take a look at it. She said she's happy to do it. And like I said, that would get cleaned once a week for the rep kids, and then it would always be clean if we do have that park rented. At least it would always be picked up and used. So I don't know how the board feels about letting that happen.
I don't think I want to clean it for $25 a week, so I'd like to make a motion to pay Lori Moe an additional $300 for 12 weeks for the cleaning service for the fire department.
You made the motion?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second.
Shouldn't it go out to bid?
Well, she's $300. It's supposed to look good.
Who's gonna do it for $25?
You gotta be kidding.
We already have a cleaning lady.
I'm just,
I think anything less than 2,500 is, and again, unless Pete wants to go over there and do it, I don't think he's
Me?
gonna. Yeah.
I'm gonna pass on that one, Mark.
I think,
Thanks for the
I think you
feedback.
gotta steal.
I'll tell you maybe he's going to do an extra 25, Pete.
I want to thank you for thinking about it, you know.
so I'll say yes. Thank Lori for offering to do that.
Yes, and I know that the Byron Fire Department, she'll probably do that either tomorrow or the following week, because the Byron Fire Department has a community benefit or gathering on the 21st. So I want to make sure that those bathrooms are clean for everybody and that they can get those taken care of.
Thanks for looking into that.
Yep.
They voted no.
I didn't hear them.
Oh, we all voted yes, correct?
I motion it, Jeff seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Byron Summer Rec Program, speaking of, is due to begin June 30th through August 15th. The registration forms are on the website under the Recreation tab. If you have any questions, please call me. As of yesterday afternoon, I've run into some issues with our town website. I am unable to update it. So I have already reached out to Millennium's recommendation, which was Beth Kemp, to try to take a look at our website. So I emailed her to see if she could just walk me through whatever the issue is. For some reason, it's not allowing me to edit or upload anything. So it may be a simple fix, and she might be able to just tell me about it and move on, and then I can continue to update. But if not, I might need to enlist her services to help me. I don't know if we need a whole new website. I just think maybe a little bit more. I know your feeling on it, but it's also cost.
I think at this time, if there's an issue with that website, now is
There
time
is.
to pull the trigger on it with the other issues that we're having with communications here, especially after the last 2 to 3 days between David's computer,
Yep,
our emails,
yes.
that there's issues with the systems that it's well worth, if we're trying to look through, to get some quotes for updating the whole website at this point. I think it's an investment. It's a struggle enough for you. I think it's,
So hopefully Beth will be able to reach out, and then we won't be in a huge angst to, hopefully she can
well,
help
that
me
we can
remedy
get
it,
quotes
but
and get a good,
we can
good
get
setup,
some,
and, but I think it's,
some design going.
I
So-
think it's an investment
Okay,
for your time and effort and stuff like that, and ease of residents' use on there, because you're putting out a lot more information, okay? It's just the setup is a little antiquated, I think, for what our needs are at this point with the stuff that's going on.
so as soon as Beth gets back to me, like I said, if it's an easy fix, great. But either way, maybe I'll move forward and see if we can get some other quotes for web design, or at least helping me to update whatever version we have set up on the server at Millennium. And that is it for me, I think.
Motion to accept the clerk's report,
Motion to accept this.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, supervisor report. The financials came out from Christina DBS earlier this week. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them. Those printed out and then everything stopped, I think, for me. Do you have any questions? let me know. I think what Jeff requested was in there.
Yep.
In the account history, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's a lot of documents, so it's hard, I can't remember everything. I know I see it some places, but, so with that, I need approval for just the financials, please, so I can sign off on these.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those are signed. And then the supervisor's report. This month, I've been in quite a bit of contact with the grant writers for the two of them, for the CDBG and the WQIP. There's the letters of support. You were CC'd in on, I think, those earlier this week. You received those. Those are starting to trickle in for us to get uploaded into those applications. And we'll be reviewing those applications beginning of July with each of the MRB group and with Jay Grasso at G&G, whatever that's called. The complaints with solar, there have been some ongoing since last month. As I said before, the resolution timeframe has been pretty good. The Rochester Pipeline was as good at responding as Excelsior's been. We wouldn't be where we're at now. Continue to check the website, like I said, or check with us for the complaint forms if needed. If it's a safety issue, reach back out to me directly, and we're addressing those immediately. Their response has been great. The sheriff was, like I said, they paid for the sheriff the first 3 weeks, and then they got the little street sweeper that's going around sweeping up the roads as well. Not that accidents aren't still happening, but they're trying to be proactive, I guess, on it. I met last week with the county manager as part of a county effort to engage better with the towns. The next one, possibly another board member can meet with us. We're talking about just county topics and stuff like that. He was part of who I reached out to in the land trust. There's that. So I've had a little more contact with the county manager, which is Matt Landers, than some of the other town supervisors in the county, but I'm trying to keep the doors of communication at the county level open. I attended the Genesee County Hazard Mitigation Assessment Debriefing Session. It's a mouthful. The county has had a grant, and they're updating their hazard mitigation plan, and each of the towns was invited to participate. They've been drafting the document. I chimed in on what their observations were. They added a few things based on some of the local solar projects to include those. This sets us up if there's some kind of hazard that befalls the town. By documenting some of these possibilities in this document, it opens the town up for better funding sources if there's a catastrophic event caused by these. That the pipeline, I think the railroad, anything that could cause a problem in the town was documented in there. I attended the GAM meeting. The water situation within the county as a whole may impact our town in the future. Okay, I wrote that down because of my takeaway at GAM of where they're directed with some of the funding at the town. I'm just sharing that with you because I don't know what the county's up to. Sometimes they're up to strange stuff, right, Pete? Sometimes? I mean, right now we got our sales tax, but the water issue at other places in the county, because they don't utilize the water from Monroe County like we do. It goes that way and then back out, and it's become an issue at the county level. So I will listen in on that and bring that back to you. As Christy has stated, we've had internal computer issues 2 to 3 times this last month. So it's twice this week and 3 times this month. There was no printer, messaging. Basically, our internal communications are failing, is my takeaway from Millennium. We've got Band-Aids on top of Band-Aids in the tech room, the IT room there. And it'll need to be addressed sooner than later, so just so you're all aware. Next week I'm attending the Land Use Leadership Alliance training program. It's a 3-day seminar and it is geared towards all this renewable energy, solar, wind, those kinds of things. We need to take away as much as we can from other towns and best practices in trying to get caught up with where we stand right now in this town with the community solar projects that are being cited and the big projects. So anything we can take away from projects that are already in place, I hope to bring that back to the town. And that's all I have for my reports. Questions on anything? Now, I need a motion to approve, please.
So
I
moved.
can motion to approve the supervisor's
I'll
report.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Museum and Historical Society report.
Okay, the museum is, has been power washed and hand scraped, and the primer coat is being applied now. It's going to take about 2 or 3 more days. There are 3 individuals from Stafford Painting working on it. The final coat will follow shortly thereafter. And I know I spoke to Christy the other day. She's initiated a check for the first third down. And as quick as they're working, I would expect that the second 2/3 should be applied for. And I spoke with Murray Call, the owner of Stafford Painting. He's not worried about the time. So we have time, but whenever you can, prepare a check for the residual amount as well.
I can do that.
Yeah, thank you. The picture frame project for the South Byron graduates is near completion. It's probably going to be another 2 weeks before that's done. We were awarded a $100 check by Reed Petroleum for our donation of postcards, which will be exhibited in Crosby's store shortly. And the last issue is we'd like to have the board vote or give us authorization in some respect to pay for the installation of storm windows. I have the contractor quotes and they're available if anybody else wants to look at them. I know a Excel sheet with an explanation letter was sent out to the board members after the last meeting. But if anyone has any questions, I have the backup data here. So with that in mind, could a vote be taken tonight or a resolution to authorize us to pay for and have the storm windows installed?
So resolution.
Because it takes 6 months lead time to get it
So
accomplished.
you need a motion.
Yep.
I drafted a resolution, she had a motion, and then it got lost in the paperwork today, so I just don't know which we're gonna do.
Hang tight, got it.
Who would be doing that work, Don?
It would be specifically, let me give you his name here.
I mean, that's something we should have prices on, right?
We do.
Lots of them. I gave them to you.
It was on an Excel spreadsheet. There's
The quotes were there, it's being paid
10
for by the
different
Historical
prices.
Society. Basically, they're gifting the town the windows.
Keep going. But yes, there were at least 4, right, Don, I believe?
4 contractors,
Yeah.
10 different prices, several different manufacturers, Polaris, Interstate, Anderson, Impervia, etc. Infinity, Ultrex. It's all explained on the sheet, and my recommendation was the top one. It gives us the biggest bang for the buck as far as grills, argon gas, and infrared penetration. And that contractor also lives in Elba. He represents 3 different companies.
It was the last sheet. I need to leave this computer screen, 'cause I can't print from here. You're going with who, Don, you said?
I'm sorry?
You're going with who was that?
The very top one, it should have
The
been
very top one,
highlighted in
okay,
color. For a price of $11,124. Those are 5-sided windows, so they take a while to make.
money of this budgeted, right?
We're not paying for it.
We're not paying for it, it's just giving the, this is just a resolution to give the Historical Society the permission to do the windows. They've got a gift of money that they're gonna do the windows with, they just need the permission.
I make a motion to approve that. If no cops us anything, why not?
Candy's got a resolution.
I'll
Just
second.
Can you,
Or-
do you,
Just go ahead and read it, just,
And thanks, Chrissy and Jeff. Chrissy explained that a little bit to me earlier today too, so I was
it's
a
a
little
no-brainer.
hip on what's going on.
Whereas
And we missed the part that we were getting granted on, just so you know.
Byron
So
Historical
that was a little bit of information, it's a little, well, we know, but yeah. But yeah, I make a motion to approve.
I got a resolution to read, but I offer the following resolution, whereas the Byron Historical Society has been charged with the oversight and maintenance of the Town of Byron Museum owned by the Town of Byron, and whereas the Byron Historical Society has been assessing and providing the Byron Town Board with recommendations for maintenance, preservation, and continued use of the museum and its grounds. And whereas the Historical Society has concluded that the Town of Byron Museum should have storm windows installed on the main part of the building to increase its energy efficiencies and provide comfort to those utilizing the building. Whereas the funds for conducting this project have been proposed to be provided by the Byron Historical Society, and whereas the Byron Historical Society will follow town procurement policy in assessing the quotes of services and deliverables for the project. Be it resolved, the Byron Town Board approves the Byron Historical Society proceeding with the purchase and installation of storm windows to the Byron Town Museum at their expense. The town will provide proper insurance certifications.
Second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 sorry guys.
Thank you. That concludes the report for the Historical Society.
Motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now you get the Parks report down, Don.
Yes, in our last meeting, the first Thursday of the month, last Thursday, Al Seacash is our new chairman. And at the July meeting, we will be voting on a new vice chairman, vice chairperson. The Boy Scouts placed 5 loads of wood chips on the trails on Trussell Park last weekend and cleaned some of the pipes under the trails of any obstruction so the water can flow through. We really appreciate the work they did. And Andy Graham of SUNY Brockport is conducting vegetation surveys at Trussell Park at the end of this month. Thereafter, tree planting will be able to be done after her surveys are done. And that's the extent of the report for the Park Committee.
Motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Fire EMS reports, anyone from there?
South Byron had, Brian had sent me, sorry, I'm reading my notes too much. Brian had sent me a report for April and May with all of their calls. April, they had 7 calls, 1 motor vehicle, 2 fire, 1 EMS, 2 gas calls, and 1 hazmat. Calls were covered by 21 members, 16 active members. Completed their physical exams, all were completed and passed. Training included 4 sessions and 101 man hours. 9 members also completed narcane training. In May, they had 3 calls, 1 fire, 1 EMS, 1 CO detection, which was false. Those calls were covered by 14 members and 2 man hours. Training sessions also included, there were 2 sessions and 24 man hours. I did not get a report from Byron.
Motion to approve the report, please.
Make a motion to approve fire EMS report.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved.
Melissa gave me a report briefly. Looks like she had Looks like she had 10 building permits. She also had 1 complaint. There's a vacant house located on Byron Holly Road that I have tried to contact the bank and maintenance company about and had no luck. The property is unkept and there's evidence of rodents and raccoons. There is an abandoned camper and piles of garbage. I have also contacted management for the trailer park next to the post office regarding dogs. The clerk had no record of the dogs being licensed. The neighbors had an interaction between his dog and a loose pit bull. The sheriff came and the owner surrendered the dog. She has 2 appearance tickets slated for court on June 16th. And that was all Melissa said.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're getting a lot of screen time. All right. Sean left me the sewer report. 6404 Mill Pond Road, he replaced a float bracket, 2 floats, check valve, and plumbing were replaced. He had a septic tank collapse on Mechanic Street. It needs to be replaced, and a dilapidated tank in the trailer park that also needs to be replaced. I gave you folks all quotes. He got a quote from Barefoot Septic for replacement of a 1,000 gallon tank was $6,185. 80 Call is a replacement of 1,000 gallon tank for $6,500. He's looking for approval from the board to hire Barefoot Septic, as they were a little bidder, to replace each of those septic tanks.
Make a motion to approve the sewer report?
No, I want,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I make a motion, so that's what right here, right?
Yep.
Make a motion to allow Sean Dempsey to hire Barefoot Septic to replace each septic tank on Mechanic Street and Trailer Park at an amount of $6,185 each.
Correct.
each, yes.
A second that.
Oh,
All in favor?
okay. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
And that was his whole report.
Motion to approve, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
In favor? Aye. And we're into public comments. 3 minutes. Anyone in the audience?
I'd like to report a potentially dangerous situation with this metal sharp corner louver hanging down about 3 inches.
Watch out, Pete.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I need the money, Martin. Blow on it, right?
Yeah, that needs to be looked at.
Okay. I can hardly see it from this side.
That's right.
You
That's
can't
the
see it.
light is blocking it for you.
Yeah.
Good observation, Don.
It's one of his eyes inside.
You know someone who can fix that, Brandon?
Maybe.
Not to your standard.
Jim?
What's the status of the Grange and North Byron? That, last I knew, that was going up for auction in June. Has that happened yet, or?
It has, I have it in my notes because that was one thing I did not follow up with the county before this meeting. And
Wasn't it right after this meeting? That they,
I haven't looked it up, I'll be honest. And it should be, I'll have to look it up. I
So
don't-
hasn't happened yet, as far as we know.
Nothing's happened at the county level yet, and I will check with Melissa. I gotta meet with her over the Excelsior project anyway, so we'll follow up on a couple different things to get back on our radar, so.
You can look at the county tax, what's coming up for auction too. They listed it, usually that's public knowledge. I haven't looked at it lately, so I don't know.
So, I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that, Jim, but it's on my notes for what I didn't get done for this meeting. Anybody else have any comments? Questions? Pete?
Like to thank Dave for the flowers around town, flowers on the building,
The banners?
and Christy and Dave for the banners.
Beautiful.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
They do look good.
Lots of compliments.
Yes.
Yeah,
People love it.
both
They're
of
so
them.
excited. I already have people on the wait list for, I don't want to say wait list, but already people interested, showing interest for
Next year.
next year. So I think that's good. So if anybody is interested, just have them reach out to me, email me, or call me. I'm just keeping a short list of folks, and then once we kind of get up and running next year, I'm thinking I'll place one big order again, April-ish next year, if anybody else is interested.
The other thing is Airbnbs. What Do we have a moratorium on that?
No,
We don't. So,
you know, we went to the county, oh, sorry, I'm taking up your time, I can answer that after 3 minutes.
I'm deducting your time, go ahead. What's that?
I started the timer.
Yeah, I won't charge the timer. So, I think, is it under a certain time is why we can't do the moratorium? What was the deal with that?
Andy's rescinding herself, so we only have 2 people to vote on any action.
Okay.
Couldn't have.
Yep, okay. I mean, I was always understood that it wasn't in the zoning law, you couldn't do it. The other thing is, if you're doing it, are these rooms being inspected by the code enforcement officer? Are these Airbnbs being, it's a business, right? Are they being inspected by the code enforcement officer? And should they be inspected by the code enforcement officer? Talk to me.
Oh, I'm timing.
Go over the shop, onto the timer, I don't care about that time.
Well, I do.
Nah, that's just you.
And I'm listening to your question.
And I'm looking for an answer.
Okay.
Are they being inspected?
Did you ask the code enforcement officer?
No, I asked you.
What exactly are you asking me? Does the code enforcement officer do what?
Are the rooms for short-term rentals
Okay.
being inspected by the code enforcement officer? I'm asking you.
Are you talking specifically about the boarding house that I have above my commercial building at the Four Corners of Byron? I guess that's
There
the
or
question.
anywhere? So how many rooms do you have in there?
I have 4. I'm classified as a boarding house per the zoning officers for whatever amount of years.
You have 4 rooms. How many sewer rents do you pay?
3.
You're short 2.
I'm not going to answer that. I don't.
No, I'm going
I
to
don't
answer
know.
it for you. You're short 2.
Well,
We're looking for money for the sewer district, and you're short in the sewer district 2 EDUs.
to answer your question about their bedrooms.
Are you paying a sewer rent for each of the other bedrooms? Sure you
Which
are.
other bedrooms?
Well, why are you paying 3?
Because I have a commercial building on the top, but on the bottom, I believe.
There's 1.
And there's a residence on the 2nd floor.
Hmm? Okay. It don't add up.
Okay, I don't know, we'll have to take a look at the sewer law and everything like that. Okay, I can't answer that. But to your other question about the room rentals up on the 2nd floor,
Yeah.
yes, the code enforcement officer does inspect them. I diligently made sure that when we went from an apartment designation to a boarding house, that those follow the guidelines per, I want to say, Mr. Cooter, when he was here, going through to diligently do it. There are 2 to 3 fire extinguishers on there, the kitchen, the hallway. There are emergency lightings. There's carbon monoxide detectors in each of those rooms, along with smoke detectors. Each of the hallways has those. They're all hardwired in for the alarm system in the building, and we've taken every precaution, and Ken worked with me on that to ensure it. There's maps on the doors, there's maps in the hallways on exit routes, compliance in that, and Mike, then Melissa have all been in there to inspect them
So-
as a boarding house. So what I've done post-COVID, okay, is I took the 4th room, okay, and used the Airbnb platform for short-term rental because everyone was congested up there when they couldn't go anywhere, okay? I had a young man that had been there for 8 months, and because he was confined in his bedroom, couldn't go anywhere else, he ended up moving. So I just, instead of keeping everybody confined, I decided to move that along. It just went out there. It's a platform. It's back to a boarding house now. I just used that instead of someone month to month having a room, somebody would come in for 2 or 3 nights because they were in the area. That was all. It was a platform to make sure there was no vacancies. That's all.
Put it to
So,
sea.
but yes, it's inspected. I believe I'm compliant with everything that I need to be with
Except for the sewer.
that. I've never had an
That's the
issue
most,
with,
in my opinion, because I'm on the sewer district, that's
Yes.
the most important.
as am I, which is why I am so concerned about this funding for it, for this project. But, you know, if people keep taking things out of the sewer district, that doesn't help either.
No, but if people pay for what they're supposed to pay for, that'll help us.
For EDUs, yes, but not usages. I don't know. That's a topic that we can,
Because when you have no sewer debt now, when you have a sewer debt,
I
that's-
understand
that's
that,
gonna
yes.
help.
If
I mean,
if
2 more
I'm not
units is-
compliant, I guess I need to review that with,
I guess you do. You need to lead us.
fair enough. I will look into that over the course of a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
So according to Pete, our family, which is 7 children and 2 adults when I was growing up, are we gonna move to where you have to charge by how many people are there for
No.
the sewer district?
Nope, you
Is
asked
that the
last-
concern that you're bringing up?
Nope, that's a family. These are not a whole family.
I'll be honest, I don't know. I was trying to be safety compliant and I paid my EDUs, so I don't know. So it was
How many
because
bathrooms does it have?
there are 3 bathrooms.
So maybe that's why you paid 3.
No,
I don't know. Maybe Don can help us since he was
I
on the
paid 2
sewer
and I only
thing
have 3.
originally.
I don't know what the problem is.
So, so with that, I guess it needs to be looked into. I'll consult the attorney to make sure that I'm appropriately assessed, and then we'll be looking at.
but I'm putting it, but we all, the only thing I'm asking for is everybody to be fair.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you pay, you gotta pay. If you don't, you don't. But, if you went by the example of before with 2 rooms in a hotel, it'd be 3. And if you got 4 rooms, well, then you gotta add a couple.
I don't know where that says that in the, for the zoning officer. I don't know. I don't know that follow. It's kind of like keeping up with bond things with the solar projects at this point. There's nothing documented in changes, I guess, to do that. So policies need to be addressed.
You need to address it.
So, fair enough.
Thanks, Pete.
For what it's worth.
Not much. So, anybody else in the audience?
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Have a good evening, everyone. We'll see you in a month.